Yo, what's up, everyone? All right, let's get this Wednesday started. How we doing? Hope you guys can all hear me. 5 by 5. Looks like everything should be working properly. Let's do a little roll call and get this started. I see Qoys and Silbor, S Spirited One over on D Live hanging out in the mosh pit. What's up, guys? Over on Rumble, Self and all hanging out. Hit that thumbs up button to all you guys watching on the Rumble stream. Share that link out there. Of course, pilled.net is the place to be. That's where the chat is at. The fam hangs out. Let's see who's all in the comfy bunker today. And that is the only place to watch hour number 2 of the broadcast, as you all are well aware by now. Due Diligence Floyd in there first, hooking us up with a Wagyu Wednesday cookie. Lightspear Lance, good to see you. Delia down in Arizona. And Joe Elaine modding the chat, doing the mod work over there. We appreciate it so much. What's up? What's up, HL Paco? It's good to see you. D Richard out there as well. How you doing, D? And Patriot 714. There's the lovely microphone Maven hanging out with us today as well. She's a big fan of the No Prisoner podcast. She always seems to pop in when they're on the show. What's up, Packers 412, Lyle, Jenny? Good to see you guys out there. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday so far. We got Timberjet. What's up, Timberjet? Valhalla, our newest mod, chilling with us today. Wield that shield with pride, my friend. R. Harrell, good to see you. Barb Robbins out there too. Welcome, Barb. Biatch. And Callie, Patriot 14, Cycle Chris. Good to see you guys. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. Darth Q 369, Timar, Fazik. What's up, guys? Good to see you all out there. Scrolling. Facts, not fear. And Roy Stones and Bones over on the West Coast. Qhio 17. Hey, there's No Prisoners podcast. Can't wait to get them up here for the show today. Cap1Q, Harley Quinn 369. Good afternoon, Mr. Gerardo. Hope you're well, my friend. Casey Powell, Don Ritchie 17, Pat McFly, Mixed Picks, Pensitter, and Steve B. What's up, Steve? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Pensitter, thank you for the cookie. Appreciate it. Mad Joker, Dangleberry. Oh, that's a new Alex Jones sticker. Don't have that one yet. Yoink. Snagged it. Mez, Filter Dog. Too quick. What's up, guys? BP Creed. Good to see you. Deborah R. Shell Sims. Who else? Agent Feisty Mango. What's up? Agent Feisty Mango is waiting in the waiting room here. Part of the No Prisoner podcast fam. Lithia, what's going on? Deborah R, thank you for the cookie. Let's get this show started, guys. We'll be right back.
We will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Y'all for tuning in, Patriots United, doing what we gotta do to win. Be addicted, the MS7, now we're moving in. And once we take over, we won't ever move again. Where we go on, we go all, I say it with pride. No, we won't run, we won't fall, we're right by your side. The demons have taken hold, but none of us will abide. Stand strong and stand bold, that's how we'll survive. 412 is the production, Monday through Friday, deplorable discussions. We're making it hard for the two state to function. Every time they switch up the narrative, we debunk it. Adult hero is the power power that's controlling the fight. With all the patriots behind them, cause we're all in this fight. So many rhyme for so long, but we're giving them sight. Trapped in the world of darkness, but we're bringing them light. You may even find yourself in a different life. A lot of us have, and honestly, that's perfectly fine. Because exactly where you are at this moment in life is where you're supposed to be at this moment in time. It's all by design, the patriots are holding the line. They must have lost theirs, thinking they're controlling our minds. So many trapped in mental prisons don't know they can find. They're just slaves in the system till the roles are assigned. That's sad, the good news is that we're waking them up. They have monopolies on minds, but we're breaking them up. Everything you thought was news, they were making it up. When we ascend, all the tyrants won't be making the cut. Let them all burn in the hellscape they create. We the people already mapped out our escape. We hold each other by the hand as we all elevate and go to a different place. They can never get chased. When I look into the future, I can see that it's bright. When this history is written, they will see that we're right. We formed our own community and the circle is tight. But I expand the circle with every word that I write. The pen is sharper than the sword when you wield it with might. Why do you think they try to kick us off all the sites? These people hate America, punish us out of spite. We are the beacons of hope in the darkness of night. So let's go, strap in, yeah, get ready for the ride. Watch the water, we're witnessing the turning of the tide. Feel the passion and the fire that you got burning inside. Take the narrative they're feeding you and turn it to the side. We're alerted to the lies, we're preaching with the truth. We know the plan they devised, they're invading the youth. Now we're only incentivized to start raising our boots. These demons all weaponized. Now we're raising our troops. Now we're raising the roof and sounding the alarm. Remember that it's always darkest before the dawn. Life is a game of chess. They want to use you as a pawn. You're only useful until you're not useful. Then you're gone. But not us. We're on the right team where we belong. Everybody is invited, so come follow along. We refuse to say things are right, knowing they're wrong. Adol Nero, take the mic and take flight, cause it's on.
And now, straight from the Steel City, it's your host, 412 Adol Nero.
All right, guys, happy Wednesday. We are back with another installment of Deplorable Discussions. My name is Adol Nero. It is September 25th, 2024. Got a good one for you guys today. We got 45-1 Actual, the No Prisoners podcast, and Feisty Ace both hanging out with us today. It's Feisty Ace's birthday, so everybody out there, please send all that birthday love into our friend Feisty. Happy birthday, Feisty. Welcome, 45-1. How are we doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Just kicking some more butt. There's a whole lot going on in this crazy world, so ready to get into it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Feisty, how's your birthday going?
It's going. It's been such a phenomenal day today, and spending it with all of you just makes it all the better. So yeah, it's going.
Awesome. Well, I'm honored to be hosting you here on your birthday. That's absolutely fantastic. I did not know
Yes,
that
it is.
when we planned the show. So that's a happy little surprise for sure.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's say hi to the OG crew. Tennessee Homesteader, how you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Wet. It's been raining since last night.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, you sent a little that up our way too, because
Yeah, it's gonna get worse, I guess, once that hurricane makes landfall and comes our way. But yeah, no biggie. It's a nuisance because all the leaves, well, the poplars started dropping. The tulip poplars are the ones that end up dropping leaves at this time of the year, and they're all over my driveway. They're now wet all over my driveway.
Are the unpoplars wet too?
Pardon? They're unpopular.
Are they unpoplars wet too?
They're popular dry. They're very unpopular wet.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Aha.
But
I understood that TN would get my wordplay.
We've been trained. So yeah.
Easier on the whip, Adel.
Yeah.
What's that?
Easier on the whipping. That's what T and I say. And we're not afraid to say it publicly.
I'm just trying to beat you guys into greatness, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
the beat will continue until you improve.
Yeah. like Joe Jackson did with Michael Jackson. Beat him into greatness, right?
Yes. So here's an interesting thing. Just numbers. But so there's 86,400 possible seconds, combination of digits in a day.
Uh-huh.
So what are the odds that Nunes and Trump hit zero delta today? 1 in 86,400. They both hit a zero delta today in Truth Social, which is pretty interesting. The other one is where weird stuff. Just recently on MLB, you had the Dodgers hitting 10 home runs, 10 RBIs, right? 3 home runs in one game, right? Six times at bat, 6 for 6 at bat in the game. And the odd part is the player is 17 and the pitcher was 17.
You talk about Shohei Ohtani?
Exactly. 17 on 17. And yesterday, I'm sitting there, my wife and I, was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. My wife and I decided to go to lunch at our local bar and grill because we were killing time for a court thing that we had to go do. And so there's a ball game going on, and it's UCLA playing LSU, and the score is 17-17. I don't know. But there's some cosmic shit going on, man. There's some cosmic shit going on. I know it sounds silly, and it may be silly, but dang. Who would have thought that the U.S. Air Force would be flying a foreign, quote unquote, self-proclaimed, installed, no further elections president from a country that we're funding to the tune of billions to a state where it's a critical election state in this cycle? Who would have thought of that? Was that on your bingo card? That Zelensky was going to fly to PA? We talked about that yesterday. I understand that. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of all the shit that's going on.
Yeah, that, and they're more upset from Trump giving $100 to somebody versus Zelensky, whatever, how many billions they gave him. I'm assuming
$375 million that little mofo got. And when I posted that photo, I asked the question: was this already compensated for, or is there another round of Ukraine aid coming? And bingo, the next day, what happens? Kash Patel points out that he got paid $375 million.
I'm sure it was something.
Yeah. Just never mind the fact, those folks out there that have been in the military, the fact that Ukraine has spent 3 million 155 shells up to this point and hasn't obliterated the Russian army is absolutely insane. 3 million 155 artillery shells, and now they're signing them in the factory as they've brought people out of retirement in these manufacturing facilities because they can't keep up with the demand. And we're not tapping into our ammo supply. I call BS.
When you're firing into Eastern Ukrainians are not going to hit Russians.
Yeah, right.
Were you as disgusted by that as I was? 45 1.
Yes.
Ship heroes signing these things, like celebrating the death and
right.
I just like
it's
that
gross.
Was so disgusting to me. I went on a rant yesterday about just how disconnected these people are. You're literally making light of straight up killing people, essentially. The mass human sacrifice that is war. They're making light of it. And it's not the soldiers that are in this shit on the battlefield going toe to toe with each other. Like that I understand when they do stuff like that. But this is a politician, someone that'll never sacrifice a damn thing, like basically beating his chest as if he's a tough guy, signing these artillery shells, dude. I took such offense to that. Not even like a service member or anything, but just my overall like sensibilities were so offended by that scene. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yeah, it's disgusting. 100% disgusting. But it's just par for the course for these people. Super disconnected, like you said, just completely antithetical to the American population. Seriously.
Yeah. I actually have a clip here of President Trump speaking about the war in Ukraine. It's like 5 minutes long, but it's pretty powerful. Take a listen to this, guys.
One golden tower laying shattered on its side. A deal could have been made if we had a competent president instead of a president that egged it all on. And Biden and Kamala allowed this to happen by feeding Zelensky money and munitions like no country has ever seen before. Every time he came to our country, he'd walk away with $60 billion. He's probably the greatest salesman on earth. But now, Ukraine is running out of soldiers. They're using young children and old men because their soldiers are dying and other things are happening to them that we won't even discuss. So many are badly injured. And what do you have? What deal can we make? What deal can we make? It's demolished. The people are dead. The country is in rubble. And who are these people that allowed this to happen? Who are these people? I said, don't let it happen. This never happened in my 4 years. I told President Putin, you're not going to do it. He would never have done it. They started to form after I left. And I actually thought they were forming as a negotiating tactic for Putin. I thought it was a negotiation. But through a lot of bad statements and stupid statements, he went in, and he's no angel. It's all such a horror. Biden and Harris caused this situation by the stupidity of what they said, by every move they make. But they caused the situation, and now they're locked in. They're locked in. I watched this poor guy yesterday at the United Nations. He didn't know what he was saying. They just don't know what to do. They're locked into a situation. It's sad. They just don't know what to do because Ukraine is gone. It's not Ukraine anymore. You can never replace those cities and towns, and you can never replace the dead people, so many dead people. Any deal, even the worst deal, would have been better than what we have right now. If they made a bad deal, it would have been much better. They would have given up a little bit, and everybody would be living, and every building would be built, and every tower would be aging for another 2,000 years. And it will only get worse with these people. With Kamala she doesn't know what she's doing. More people will die. More cities will fall. The ones that fell will continue to receive more and more bombs. They'll be broken up asunder, worse than they are right now. Nothing is standing. The crops are dying. There's really nothing for the Ukrainian people to move back to. And it didn't need to happen. Those buildings are down. Those cities are gone. They're gone. And we continue to give billions of dollars to a man who refuses to make a deal, Zelensky. There was no deal that he could have made that wouldn't have been better than the situation you have right now. You have a country that has been obliterated, not possible to be rebuilt. It'll take hundreds of years to rebuild it. There's not enough money to rebuild it if the whole world got together. They're not going to be satisfied until they send American kids over to Ukraine, and that's what they're trying to do. And the moms and dads of America don't want their kids fighting Ukraine and Russia, and we're not going to have our soldiers die across the ocean. I will restore, as I did for 4 years, the only president in 81 years, they say, no wars. Hillary Clinton said, look at him, look at him. He'll immediately start wars. No. Then she said, look at his rhetoric. He's going to start wars. I said, no, my rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. I kept you out of wars. My rhetoric kept you out of wars. I stopped wars from happening. If it were somebody else, they would have gotten 5 Nobel Prizes. I never even got a mention, and I wouldn't, because I happen to be a different kind of a person, and the fake news treats me much differently than they treat other people. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize, and he didn't even he said, why did I get it? He had no idea. It was immediate as soon as he walked into office, practically. He didn't do anything. What I've done is incredible. The Abraham Accords alone, incredible. But they haven't done anything with it. We would have had every country just.
All right. So,
you know what the key words of everything that he said there? The key words, the key little nugget. He would have had to give up a little bit of territory. That was the key, and everything that he said about Ukraine was that key phrase in that whole statement, because that was the deal. That was the whole aspect, and why Zelensky is not giving in and won't cut a deal is because the eastern side of Ukraine wants to be Russian. The Russians stepped in because of that, and that's not what they want. And that's why the deal is not being made, and Trump knows it. That's why he dropped that little hint right there. Because that's the same thing that happened with Crimea.
my understanding too is a lot of the West is preventing him from making a deal too.
Oh yeah. True. But he's benefiting from it. That what I'm saying is it's not in his best interest, personal best interest to make the deal, because he's raking in money left and right. As a matter of fact, the interesting part is even the hyperbole that Trump was saying, that all of Ukraine is devastated. It's the eastern side of Ukraine that's devastated. The western side of Ukraine still has dudes driving around in $300,000, $500,000 cars.
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying he was lying. I'm saying I look at it as hyperbole, because he's trying to raise the attention. And when he says about the farmland and everything, the crops, the eastern side of Ukraine is the breadbasket of Ukraine, not the western side of Ukraine.
So Rye Guy for Life said Trump sounds like a neocon, and says he's lying to the people about Ukraine. I don't understand where you get neocon from that. He's anti-war.
Yeah.
He wants to
look in any way, shape, or form.
He wants to make a deal. He doesn't. He's not promoting more of the violence, more of the war.
He's not signing bombs.
No,
he's not.
He didn't send bombs.
Yeah, he's not.
Right. Didn't sign any bombs.
If he were a neocon, he would be spewing the same rhetoric as Nikki Haley or Joe Biden or any of these other pro-war people.
He's just a contrarian. That's all it is. If you say white, he'll say black. If you say white, if you say black, he'll say white. He's a contrarian. And yeah, I'm calling you out. You are a contrarian, because that's all you do.
Yeah,
so
I don't get it. Like, there's plenty of things to criticize Donald Trump over. His stance on Ukraine and war in general, I don't really think is one of them. But again, you're entitled to your opinion. Like, he couldn't be less neocon in what I've heard.
Yeah, well, if he's saying he's lying, okay, then you put out the documentation that says where he's lying. You put your name out there on everything that you profess he is about, and then we'll discuss it. Until you do so, and you stop doing the little quips and chat, which are sensical. So just do your thing, put it out there, and let other people judge it.
So we'll call out Israel with all their bloodshed. How about that? I mean, he's always been.
Now you're shifting gears. Now you're shifting gears.
That has nothing to do with
Ukraine.
It has nothing to do with Ukraine, for one.
Well, and then step back a little.
Hold on, Ken. And two, when Trump was president, he wasn't helping Israel bomb the Middle East. He was working on the Abraham Accords, which is also promoting peace in the region, a two-state solution to a decades-old conflict, almost century-old conflict that we really have no business in. But he went over there and tried to broker peace instead of continuing the wars that we've had over there. He ended more conflicts than any other president. He started no new ones. He had opportunities to bomb Iran over them destroying that drone. he had so many opportunities to increase conflict and really line the pockets of the um, industrial complex, and he never really did any of that when he had the opportunity to. All of his rhetoric has been towards ending these. All of his actions, official actions, have been towards um, ending conflict. So to say he's a neocon is completely off base. Is he a Zionist? That's a conversation we could have. Is he too pro-Israel? In my opinion, he is. But he's never been pro-Israel in a way that was like annihilate the Arab population. He's always tried to find some kind of somewhat amicable solution to the conflicts in that area. Um, so I'm sorry that he doesn't do things exactly the way you'd like him to, but to label him a neocon because he's pro-Israel is kind of dumb in my opinion. But again, I have my opinion and you have yours, buddy. Um,
Yeah, well,
he's the most anti-war president we've had.
Going back to the speech that Trump was doing, that was to me that was the nugget, because that's something that we kind of suspected because of how the Eastern Ukrainians voted.
Mm-hmm.
But now he put it out there. Now he dropped the marker that basically all he had to do is give up some territory. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's like, okay, so why are you holding on to that territory? If the people want to leave, why are you holding on to it? Right, that's the kind of concept, and we know, as you were saying, that we as we understand from everything that's been reported, that it was Boris Johnson that prevented the initial peace, and it even goes back to the peace discussions that we're having. In essence, right after the quote unquote the alleged invasion, then you also have preceding that all the dealings with NATO and Russia and how that involves that whole eastern border of Europe. And I did the air quotes there. So it's been long coming, and I'm still saying, and I still firmly believe that this whole thing that we're seeing and now looking at towards towards Iran, is all about Ukraine. It has nothing to do with the Middle East. It has to do with Ukraine, because all of a sudden you have Zelensky showing up saying that Trump doesn't know what he's talking about in doing peace in Ukraine. All of a sudden you have that going on. But that's my theory.
So maybe I'm ignorant to this, and maybe someone on the panel can help. Is neocon and Zionist, are they synonyms? Is that the same thing?
No,
I didn't think so.
they're not.
I thought those were two completely different terms. So
They are.
yeah, and they have two completely different meanings. So I don't. Again, I'll have the conversation whether or not Donald Trump's too pro-Israel and a Zionist. I would say, yeah, he might actually be, and I don't have any real defense of his defense or his pro-Israel stance, other than it's kind of a prerequisite to winning a Republican election is being pro-Israel. But as far as calling him a neocon, like a pro-war, a war hawk, essentially, is absolute nonsense in my opinion. But again, you are welcome to your opinion, right, guy? We're all about free speech, and you say whatever you want. I just don't understand where you're coming from, dude.
And also, I don't hate you, but I dislike the aspect that your entire point is to be contrary to wherever it's just being discussed. Not necessarily looking for complementary, but it's always contrary.
Yeah.
That's a contrarian. That's something that somebody that comes into a group just to stir up the shit.
Yeah.
So, being said, I don't hate you. Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on from that. Just thought that was a pretty interesting little 5-minute snippet there. Let's take a look at some poll numbers, because there are some interesting things happening in the polls. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this. All right, so come on, move out of my way. So Eric Doherty, I don't really know who that is, but it says, "Whoa! Based on Gallup's poll, Trump is on track to win the top popular vote by 2.5 points. That's an early effing election night, Kamala's problems would not be the battleground states, would look something like this. And here you have 312 to 199 based on the Gallup poll. Trump winning all of the swing states and toss-ups in Virginia, New Hampshire, and Minnesota. 45-1. These are some of the best polling numbers I think I've ever seen a Republican presidential candidate have at any point, man. And this is again, this is a mainstream poll. We were talking
Yeah.
about this yesterday. Are they finally polling fairly, or is Trump just winning so badly that even with their shenanigans, like this is the best they can promote Kamala Harris as being down in the popular vote? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And you just kind of points more to the projection, right? Like Kamala Harris standing there in the debate talking about how people are leaving Donald Trump's rallies, that it's not organic. And we've seen them bussing people in and kicking Trump supporters out of stores that she's trying to go and do photo ops in to go get some Doritos and, whatever. So it's like the energy behind Donald Trump is real. And I think that it's, again, that pain point that people are really starting to feel, like that everybody's really starting to feel the pain. And people are looking for a better answer. And then you have the gaslighting, Chris Coons saying, well, if you think that you were doing better under Donald Trump, you're just misremembering. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten to that level of gaslighting where you're telling people they're just remembering life being better back then. You know what I mean? So I think this is, it's actually good sampling of the reality of the situation. We'll see how they try to twist things around over the next couple of weeks because they're running out of time. They're running out of time.
They really are. Let's take a look at this here. It says historical trends, party ID and popular vote based on regression analysis using Gallup's party ID and historical election results in an R+3 environment in 2024. The model projects a 2.5 national popular vote margin in favor of Trump. This aligns with the historical trend where party ID has been a strong predictor of national outcomes. Key results R squared, 0.972, strong fit coefficient of 0.964. Each point change in party ID shifts the popular vote by 0.96 of a point. If this trend holds, the Trump-Vance ticket is positioned to win the national popular vote and make significant gains in the Electoral College, potentially flipping states like Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Virginia. Now, I'm not a big statistics guy, so all this R squared coefficient stuff is kind of Chinese to me. But the big story here being a 2.5 lead in a national popular vote. You just don't see Republicans win a popular vote very often. And we've talked about it a lot. Me, Tien, and Pinata have talked about it a lot. But in your opinion, 45-1, how important is it for Donald Trump to win the popular vote? Winning the Electoral College is one thing. I mean, that obviously is the first mission. But how does it change things if he actually wins the popular vote too, in your mind?
Well, I think it kind of really kneecaps the whole Democrat Party. You know what I mean? If he wins the popular vote, he's going to be going into it, and the media is not going to be able to say anything. I think that'll be the biggest thing, is that they'll try to do the same games that they played in his first administration, but without being able to use that as an excuse. That's how they propped up Hillary Clinton and her loss, and it being okay for her to say that it was hijacked and yada yada yada. Election denial up and down. But they'll lose that narrative. As far as it happening, I don't know. I mean, it would be awesome if it did, but I can't tell you for sure right now because there's just I feel like there's just still so many people that are buying into this, Trump fear narrative that they keep falling back on. But I don't know. Anything's possible, man.
The last numbers that I saw, this was last week or so, had the projection for winning the popular vote in the number of popular votes of the acquired. It was only a 2-point spread between Kamala and Trump.
For Kamala?
Yeah, that's a 40, I think it was 48 to 50% and some change, but basically a 2 point spread on the how much of the popular vote they would each get. So that's only a roughly, let's call it a 3 point. Granted, that's a lot of people, but I'm saying that's a 3 point spread. That's not a big one to have something overcome it really quickly.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the other interesting thought that I had today was, so if we look at saying Trump's numbers are insurmountable, and whether he wins the popular vote or not, which I hope he does, because then it becomes a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Democrat line. The minute you win the popular vote and the electoral vote, they call it a mandate. Right. So by the people. So the question then comes down as to how do they prevent him from taking office, which is what they have to do. So that I have a theory, but I'm not going to use it now because we don't want to chew up time. But it's pretty plausible, and you manipulating using the Constitution.
As far as how they're going to try to keep Trump from getting in.
The simplest way, you prevent states from being certified.
Yeah,
No certification, the state's not counted. No certification, no electoral college for participation by that state, no electoral votes.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how many states try to pull something like that after election day.
It'll come from the people. That's the hard part, because it will require a challenge to the election results, and the challenge has to be resolved between November 6th and December 17th, because that's when the electoral college meets.
Right.
They have to fit within the whole concept of the safe harbor, and when the archivist or when the SEC gets it, when the archivist gets it, when the Senate gets it, all that's coupled, and there's a definitive timeline. And if they don't make it for the 17th vote, they don't get counted.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be a battle.
It's 270 to win, but what's the majority? If the states don't get counted, then how you determine the winner? And if there is no majority, you know who decides the winner?
State legislatures.
Congress.
Well, state legislatures.
It goes to Congress, not state legislatures. Congress. If it goes back to the states to recertify or to address that, yes, you're right. But if it comes down to those states were automatically discounted because they could not certify in time to meet the criteria, and there is no majority, it goes to Congress.
I thought it was one state, one vote at that point.
In Congress. But it's Congress.
I thought that's the state legislatures, though.
No.
It comes from. It's not the U.S.
Well, it may be, but it's Congress, the person representing Congress that makes the vote. So the question is, which states can you count on voting for Trump when you have 50 and there's only a 3-state spread between Democrat and Republican?
So I think we're on slightly different pages. I don't think it's the U.S. Congress. I think it's the state House of Representatives, and each state votes, and then that determines which way each state falls. Because that's what Steve Bannon was talking about back in 2020.
No. Don't mix the two.
Getting the states to decertify their votes, and then not getting Biden to get to 270, and then he was talking about the mix of state legislatures and how they lean, and it was 26-24 Republican on the state legislatures, so you get 26 to 24 vote, and that was the whole Green Bay strategy.
But that's not what I'm talking about. You're talking about a state being their certified electors being sent back to the state to recertify it. I'm not talking about that. I'm
talking about them being sent back to decertify, getting them below 270. The whole point was not to give Donald Trump 270 votes. It was to eliminate Joe Biden's 270 and then force it to the state legislatures to decide. That was the strategy.
Right. But what I'm talking about here is the states don't even get their votes are not counted from the beginning. See, the Green Bay sweep.
Go ahead, dude. Sorry.
The Green Bay sweep was basically established by basically sending it back to the state, which means the state already provided their quote unquote certified electors. And what I'm talking about is the state does not get to certify. They don't even count.
Tomato, Tian, because I'm talking about when they send them back, they decertify those electors, and it's like they were never sent to begin with. That was what they were trying to do.
My point is that it had to be sent back. That means that they had a certification. Even though if you wanted basically says do it over again.
It's the same.
No,
process
it's
when you
not,
get to that
because it
point.
doesn't. Okay. We have this disagreement. It's not the same. It's not the same. Because in order for it to be sent back, it had to be sent. What I'm talking about, it never gets sent.
All right, whether it never gets sent or it gets sent back and decertified, the point is that neither candidate gets the 270. It goes to the state legislatures, one state per vote based on the majority in the state legislatures. So whether or not it gets sent and sent back or just never makes it to begin with, the way it's resolved is still the exact same.
But you're counting on 270, and that's not what it says. It's the majority. It's 270 because that's the majority on the current electoral college. If the electoral college is reduced by the number of states that were not certified, then it's not 270.
Whatever that majority is.
It never has a majority, or the majority is less than 270. That's the difference. The difference is you're saying it went back to the states. The state makes the legislature. No quarrel with that, and it comes back, and that was it. But the actual is they have to win the majority at the electors.
So the threshold is that they've been sent in. So whatever is sent in, if they're all sent in, that threshold is 270. If they're not all sent in, the threshold is not 270.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the disagreement.
And then the question then comes down to what constitutes a majority. Is it the majority of the electors that came in? And if there is no majority, because it's a lot easier not to have a majority in that case, that's the whole concept of the tied vote, goes to Congress.
It goes to the House of Representatives. Each state delegation in the House gets one vote. The representatives from each state must agree on their state's vote. A candidate must win the majority of states, 26, to become president. This process has been used twice, in 1801, Thomas Jefferson, and again in 1825, John Quincy Adams.
Exactly.
You know, I do want to say that leaving it to Congress, I find very interesting, given the timing of them coming out and wanting to have backup Congress in case something happens to Congress, the mass casualty event.
Well, the other
very interesting.
And this is where it's all a big quagmire, because the Congress we're talking about is the 119th Congress, not the current one.
Mm-hmm.
The Congress, at least in particular in the House, that's yet to be elected. So this is the whole concept, is that they cannot do away with a general election because they're dependent on it too. What they have to do is be able to separate Trump, and the Electoral College gives them that opportunity. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I don't know. It's a theory because it's a plausible way, and because the challenges will come from within the states, then their hands are washed. Because it's you, the people, that challenge the election.
Yeah, I mean, it may play out like that. I don't believe they're going to go quietly.
No, absolutely not.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's where our disconnect was, though, is what constitutes the majority based on what was sent in and not sent in. My understanding was no matter what, you needed 270 to win, but I guess that's not the case.
Extra scary, by the way, if it doesn't get resolved by Inauguration Day, the Speaker of the House could potentially serve as president until the issue is resolved.
Right, and it isn't Johnson. We don't know.
Right. It could be Hakeem Jeffries at that point.
It could be Jeffries. For all we know, right? Exactly, and see, the 270 is based on, and 270 is not casting concrete either, because the number of electors is based on the congressional makeup and the senatorial makeup for the respective states, right, and all that. So, as states grow, and let's say they add a 51st state, or they increase the population in state X, where their electoral votes go up. So the 270 is not a set number. It just happens to be that right now. But it's the actual thing is the majority of the electors. And right now, 270 is what makes it the majority.
All right. Well, I stand corrected. I misunderstood. I guess
Play that video.
I guess we gotta do. I guess we gotta do this real fast.
I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that now.
Oh my goodness. I love that. That's so funny.
Shout out to Maven for putting that together.
You still owe me the link.
Of course she did.
Give me that link.
I'm never giving you that link again. That's for me to play when I feel it's appropriate. You don't get to just throw that around all willy-nilly.
Oh goodness.
I got another. This one's really interesting, guys, because this one I think paints a really bad picture for the Democrats. Kamala Harris too. So Notre Dame poll of students, right? So you look in 2020, they polled Notre Dame students, and Biden had a 37-point lead on Donald Trump at Notre Dame. He's got a 2-point lead over Kamala Harris in 2024 in the same poll. That's incredible. That is a massive.
Because Notre Dame is all racist. You know that, right?
They didn't used to be. 4 years ago, they weren't apparently.
No, that's the narrative now. They're all racist.
It's just, I mean, that. What do you? I'll start with you, 45-1 and Feisty. What do you think it is that over the past 4 years, all of a sudden, because we're seeing this with the younger demographic in general, like they're coming out in support of Donald Trump and conservative politics way more than they ever used to. I mean, college students at 18 to like 30 range always lean pretty heavily Democrat, but when you see a college poll like that shifting that dramatically in just 4 years, what is it in your opinion that is kind of waking these kids up?
Well, we actually read an interesting study about Gen Z males actually outnumbering females in the church now. Gen Z, the male population is like heavily into the church. So, and then what you're seeing a lot of the time with these chicks that live all over social media, you know, they're the Instagram wannabe models or whatever. You see these videos of them like coming to the realization that they actually want to settle down and be a, you know, like a trad wife or family up. And so when they're seeking, they're actually finding in young men that are being raised up in the church now and understanding, you know, some simple answers on how, you know, life is supposed to work.
You mean biology?
Yeah, you know, and I also think that, yeah, just the simple, you know, 4th grade biology, whatever, science.
Right.
And so the other part of it is I think there's like a natural rebellion with each generation, right? And so they're seeing this mainstream just overload. They're being bombarded with the woke crap. And I think part of the rebellious nature of this generation, just like ours have been rebellious and so on and so forth, is just turning away from that naturally. And they're finding the simplicity of things, of how things used to be. So I think that conservative nature is really coming out in the younger generation, just naturally. It's pretty cool.
It's also pretty tough for them to date because they don't know what they're going to be dating.
Well, right. And then it's
You
like
played roulette.
right. And then you have exactly all of the Instagram nonsense, and you're seeing these girls pretty much bare themselves, and then you throw OnlyFans in the mix and stuff. Real men don't want the lady that they're with to be all over social media like that. They don't like men drooling over, you know, the person that they're with. And they're sick of seeing it. You know what I mean? And that's another, they're coming to God. They're realizing, you know, all of these things. And I mean, my goodness, you see these girls shouting from the top of their lungs that, you know, they want to be able to have an abortion if, you know, they quote unquote mess up or whatever and stuff. And guys are like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like guys don't want any part of that. And I don't blame them. and I thank God that they're starting to wake up and see that, you know, these girls have no value. I mean, they do, but they don't, you know what I mean? Because they're busy seeking something that will never make them happy, and they continue, and then they get further in it and further in it. And yeah, now they're waking up and seeing like, oh yeah, guys don't want me to be all over social media and garnering attention that I really don't need.
Let alone that it's forever. Let alone that it's forever, right?
Right. Yeah.
20,
well, that's like I had watched
now,
this.
Right, 20 years from now, you're talking to your 8-year-old daughter that shows you a photo of you twerking and blah blah blah, right?
Right. And
I'm sorry, Feisty. I don't mean you when I say you. I mean
I know.
The royal.
But I've caught a few episodes of this OnlyFans. She was an OnlyFans model, and she's got a younger brother, and they have these talks back and forth. And he told her, he's like, I'm sick and tired of my friends coming up to me and saying, oh yeah, I've seen your sister on OnlyFans, blah, 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 blah. And he's telling her what it's doing to him. You know what I mean? So the realization is kicking in that everybody sees your dirty business. You are flaunting it for the world. And guess what, honey? The world remembers. The internet is forever. It's always going to be there. You're not just doing damage to yourself. You're doing damage to, your family, and to, having a potential of having a man that wants to, settle down and marry you and take care of you, this, that, and the other,
It's almost like cursing future generations, Feisty.
Whoa, isn't that something? So weird. But yeah, they're seeing it. They're seeing it, and thank God they are.
Yeah,
that's true, because they're the ones that have to wake up, not us. And I don't mean us, our age group, I should say. That's what I mean. They're the ones that have to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is a culture too that's blaming young men for everything, right? Like if you are counter to any of this, labeling or woke culture, you're immediately an enemy of the state. You know what I mean? And going back to the young men being in church, they're sitting down, they're understanding like this is a culture where you don't have to feel guilty for for feeling that way, for thinking that there's two genders and traditional values and yada yada, having a moral compass. So I think, like I said, it's just the wokeism is so over the top that it's just pushing this younger generation into being conservative. So it's awesome. I'm glad that they're rejecting these indoctrination centers like Harvard and just going with the flow of reality. It's good. It's good stuff.
Right. Stepping away from the world and becoming not of this world.
Is that just a cycle we're always destined to live through? So you had like the counterculture movement in the 60s of like free love and kind of getting away from that. We've seen how that has turned into like feminism and all these different things that have kind of really hurt the nuclear family. It's this whole PC culture that has come out of it. And
it's the weak times, hard men, and all that cycle. But now include the fact that the frequency that's going to be the frequency is reduced, so it happens more often. That cycle happens more often because of the ease of what technology brings. For what used to take longer periods of time for you know what I mean. So the benefits of technology have made that cycle so we can see it within one person's own lifetime as opposed to something that used to be lore.
How do we take the sharpness out of the cycle? I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like you have such a violent kind of moving away from traditional values, and now that like every major institution has adopted these woke mindsets, you see the natural rebellious nature of the younger generation being like, well, if every point of authority in my life is telling me that this wokeness is what I should be doing, I'm going to go traditional values because, it's just like that natural natural instinct, I think, for
It's
the
pointing out the control mechanisms. The control mechanisms are there for division to distract from realizing what we're just talking about.
I guess what my point though is what happens is as the younger generation's rebellious nature has them shifting to more traditional values and whatnot, you'll see that shift in the markets and institutionally as well. And then eventually they'll rebel the other way, going back towards, the wokeness again. I don't how do you keep things in a place where it's not
Make
constantly
people aware of the cyclical nature of it, and understand that people, especially people in power, understand that there's going to be different waves that are going to come in at different times. I mean, this is the same thing with the kind of uniparty establishment presidential pick. They understood what was going on economically. They were going to do this, they were going to do that. People in the know knew when to pull into the stock market, put into the stock market, pull out when the stock market. And so the people in the know understand these cycles, especially financially, and they understand how the social ones affect the financial too. So it's just basically making people more aware of what's going on with this, and you kind of get out of the whole everybody marching in lockstep over the bridge, which causes the collapse, as opposed to then if everyone just starts walking at their own pace, well, then you remove that destructive nature of it, and then no one really understands where the waves are coming from.
Yeah, and that's why it's been such a control over the information sphere, right? Like they want to take control of as much information as possible. You got the United Nations Undersecretary for Communications saying we've got to become more viral. We got to get there first. We have to preload, for the disinformation and malinformation and yada yada yada. The globalists understand, the woke hive mind understands that the freer the information is on platforms like X, where it's like news is happening there now, pill.net, where, free speech streaming platforms growing every day. Like these places exist, and the mainstream they don't want them to exist, because then they have control over the information. And I think, like Drunk Pinata said, is you're educating people by having that information out there, having the counter narrative out there, pointing out the hypocrisy, pointing out the lies, and that's what kind of slows that pendulum swing. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff, guys. All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back on the other side exclusively on pill.net. Those of you guys watching on Rumble, Twitter, DLive, CloudHub, Odyssey, find your way over to pill.net. Join us at 412 Productions for the 5 o'clock hour. I'll put a link to the broadcast in the Rumble and DLive chat. Make it really easy. But again, if you can't get to those links for whatever reason, it's very simple. All you got to do is type in pill.net to your browser. And again, we are at 412 Productions over there. We'll play a quick video. On the other side, we'll say goodbye to the other platforms, read your gold pills, and continue on with hour number 2 of today's show. We'll be right back.
Pill.net is proud to host 412 Productions, exclusively on the true home of free speech. To continue watching the show, we are here to help you over to Pilled. If you're new to the platform, just click on the welcome link provided. It will then automatically walk you through signing up for your free account. If you already have a Pill.net account, follow the link provided directing you straight to 412 Productions channel. We are excited to have you join the Pilled family, and if you have any questions at all, please email support@Pill.net. Enjoy the rest of 412 Productions on Pill.net. Free speech lives here.
All right, guys, we are back. As always, a big thank you to everyone who is continuing to watch and hang out with us over on pill.net for hour number 2. Again, that link is in the Rumble chat, Rumble description, and the DLive chat, or just simply type in pill.net to your browser and find us at 412 Productions. If you're not going to jump over, no worries. Come back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be hosting Frankie Val of the Quite Frankly Show and Zach Payne of Red Pill 78 for Taking It Back. Will be syndicated by our friends over on Badlands Media. So I hope to see you guys all there. Otherwise, jump on over to Pilled, or we'll catch you on the next